Google and the U.S. military. A complicated history. The United States military has always been at the forefront of technological innovation, but as the world changes, so do the ways in which wars are fought. In 2017, a U.S. Marine spots a suspicious convoy and wants to know if anyone has intel on it. A Predator drone in the air might have footage, but instead of using a sophisticated gadget, the soldier uses his iPhone and Google Maps. It's surprising that the U.S. military doesn't have better options since it's not a technology or budget issue. Google could solve this problem and save American lives, but it has a complicated history with the U.S. military. Silicon Valley was built in large part because of military defense contracts during the Cold War. However, as the startup funding model changed, companies lost their connection to the U.S. military. Google initially thought of itself as a consumer product with no military applications, but that didn't last long. Technology has been at the heart of U.S. military strategy for decades, with offset strategies used to level the playing field against larger forces. In 2016, the U.S. began thinking about offset strategies once again, and the Defense Innovation Board was created to bring tech innovation and engineering expertise from Silicon Valley to the U.S. military. In 2017, the military released a memo establishing an algorithmic warfare cross-functional team, also known as Project Maven, to explore how technology could be used in warfare. The Department of Defense faced a data problem as intelligence analysts had to sift through too much information. With high-quality cameras, drones, and satellite imagery providing extensive battlefield intelligence, soldiers turned to Google Maps to centralize their findings. However, this solution was insufficient, as the U.S. was falling behind in artificial intelligence advancements. The Department of Defense aimed to use technology to identify objects in drone footage, save time, and improve efficiency. Project Maven was proposed, in which machine learning would be used to tag videos in 90-day sprints to help understand the extensive footage. The project was led by Lieutenant General Jack Shanahan of the United States Air Force and Colonel Drew Cukor of the Marine Corps. Google's involvement in Project Maven, a data labeling project for the Department of Defense, highlighted the importance of investing in computer vision and artificial intelligence. While AI has made significant advancements in understanding photos, it is important to recognize its strengths and weaknesses. The best place to deploy AI is in situations where there is a lot of data to be processed and there is tolerance for mistakes. However, concerns were raised about the ethical implications of building AI for the military. The chief scientist for AI at Google Cloud warned against mentioning AI in the press, but this backfired and news of the project leaked. The incident highlighted the growing relationship between the U.S. military and Silicon Valley. Google's contract with the Department of Defense for Project Maven has caused thousands of Google employees to protest the company's involvement in a Pentagon drone program. The project has sparked anger among Google workers who fear that the AI results are being used for evil purposes. The movement was led by AI researcher Meredith Whittaker, who protested Google's AI contracts with the Defense Department, their plans to build a censored search engine, and their inadequate AI ethics policy. She wanted Google to draw a clear line in the sand and not work with the Department of Defense. Whittaker and 4,000 other Google employees signed a letter to Sundar Pichai asking him to cancel the project immediately. Google claims that Project Maven is for non-offensive purposes. However, a dozen Google employees quit the company because of the project. Google found itself in a difficult spot. On the one hand, they had already scoped the project to avoid any offensive capabilities, and they had already drawn a clear line. If they backed down, the narrative would stick, and everyone would think that Google had planned to build killer robots. On the other hand, if they pulled out of the contract, it could hurt Google too. Maven was supposed to be a jumping-off point to more government work. The DoD was about to start accepting bids for a $10 billion contract, and Google wouldn't stand a chance of winning if they backed out of Maven. Even though the Google activists argued that helping the Pentagon tag images was evil, it can just as easily be argued that pulling out of the contract was evil. Artificial intelligence, when used properly, dramatically reduces human error. If Google chose to sit on the sidelines and not help, U.S. troops might suffer grave consequences. It's important to remember that Project Maven was all about supporting the defeat of ISIS, a brutal militant group. Complicating matters was the fact that Google had built an AI lab in China, and the Chinese government was benefiting from Google's technology. TensorFlow, for example, is open source, and they can download it from GitHub. It was an awkward situation to cut the United States military off from Google's resources while China could do whatever they wanted. If you were the CEO of Google, what would you do in this situation? While 4,000 signatures on a letter may seem like a significant number, it's crucial to consider the scale of Google's workforce at the time: 80,000 employees. This means that the individuals protesting Project Maven only represented about 5% of the company's staff, and the 10 people who resigned in protest were likely not a significant loss given the dozens of daily resignations that occur at Google. It's also essential to remember that Project Maven was a small portion of Google's cloud revenue, and the company likely didn't see it as worth the hassle of continuing the contract. While concerns about AI are valid, the potential for significant advancements is undeniable. Despite the controversy surrounding Project Maven, Google's decision to back out was a wake-up call for the tech industry. However, the fallout continued during the bidding process for the Pentagon's $10 billion cloud contract called JEDI. Google pulled out of the bidding process, claiming it didn't align with the company's AI principles, but there's a theory that the company couldn't offer a competitive bid. Interestingly, Project Maven moved forward with little to no interruption, and the use of AI in the military continues to ramp up. Google is once again working with the military, but under new leadership that prioritizes upholding the company's AI guidelines. This outcome is cause for optimism about big tech, as citizens of America have the freedom to choose not to work with the military. While Project Maven was a significant mess, it was ultimately a wake-up call for the tech industry. The public's support for defense technology also rose during Russia's invasion of Ukraine, highlighting the importance of tracking developments through tools like Google Maps. As technology advances and becomes more accessible, the role of tech companies in military defense will continue to be a topic of debate. The relationship between Google and the U.S. military may be complicated, but it's clear that the two entities need each other to continue advancing in their respective fields. Thanks for watching the video.